Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of TTG's Fairer Travel Festival. We are kicking off today's fantastic agenda with what I'm sure will be an enlightening discussion to give you all the need-to-knows about how to choose a sustainable accommodation for your clients. And today I'm joined by our fantastic panel, Scott Lawson of EasyJet Holidays, Aisling McLaughlin from Iberostar Hotels and Resorts, and Lawrence Peachy of Spring Hotels. Before we start, don't forget to look out for our poll questions to you on the chat box on the right-hand side. You'll get the answers from our experts throughout the session, and the more you answer, the more chance you'll have of winning one of our fabulous prizes at the end of the week. And also don't forget, there will be plenty of opportunity for you to put your questions to our panellists during the discussion. Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to have you here.
Morning.
Morning.
Great to be here.
Hi there. Morning.
I guess in terms of just kicking off the discussion, everybody, it's fair to say that this can be a bit of a minefield, particularly when figuring out if a property is as sustainable as it should be. Could you give us some examples of the certifications, the accreditations, all the other options that you use for properties you sell or operate, and why these can help agents feel assured? If I could start with you, Ash, on that one.
Yeah, I think it's a really good question, actually, because it's very important, really, especially with the subject of greenwashing. You hear that a lot. And we just have to make sure that agents feel as confident as possible with selling sustainable travel options. And that's not an easy job to do. So certification really helps with that because it's monitored, it's calculated, certifications by a third party. It's not just us as a hotel chain saying we're doing this, we're doing that. All of the results, etc., go into these certifications, and like I said, monitored by a third party. So we actually work with EarthCheck, which is the world's most rigorous scientific-backed certification for environmental policies. So it's quite difficult for a hotel to achieve that, and they actually audit us on a yearly basis as well. So it's great to say that we've got that in over 50% of our hotels at the moment. So that's a great way, something great that we can say to the agents, look, we are monitored continuously on a regular basis, and they look at everything, all of our carbon emissions, the our waste procedures in the hotels, everything. They look at the water usage in the properties, etc. So they really go into very much a lot of detail. So yeah, it's great to say that we actually have that within a large number of our properties around the world.
Yeah, and obviously, I guess with that level of rigor, agents can feel pretty confident that it's doing what it says it's going to be doing, right? So that's yeah.
They don't make it easy for us.
Exactly.
Have to work hard for it.
Yeah, which I think is testament to it, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
And Scott, EasyJet Holidays recognises properties that have been certified by the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So probably very similar to the agents, and you mentioned there that it's a minefield. When we first started our sustainability strategy, we really needed to cut through some of the complexity and find a way that was really easy to meet our strategy target of creating better holiday choices for our customers and really making it easy to display them. So we decided to opt for the GSTC, so the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So just probably worth a bit of context and background. The GSTC are a global body that were originally formed from the UN WTO, now UN Tourism. And they hold a set of criteria that covers all areas of sustainability, so social, environmental, economic sustainability, to make sure we get a really holistic view of what a hotel is doing to achieve certification. So GSTC don't actually give out the certifications themselves. What they do is they allow certifications bodies such as EarthCheck, who Iberostar use, to apply. And if their criteria matches that of the GSTC and it reaches their standard, they're then given a license almost to go out and certify hotels on their behalf. So we went for the GSTC, and it was really important for us because of that holistic approach and giving the ability to tell our customers that we're covering all areas of sustainability. There's plenty of certifications out there. Some of them don't go as far and as robust as some of the details Ashlyn's already mentioned, the face-to-face audits. So for us, we can really be assured that they're the gold standard and giving our customers the best possible assurance of what's going on in those hotels.
And obviously, there are certain elements of that certification that customers wouldn't normally think of to support agents. Do you have any examples of that?
Yeah, I think when we talk about sustainability, I think you're all here because you're really interested in sustainability. It's part of our job role, so we see underneath the surface and see some of the finer details. But perhaps when it's not at the forefront of a customer's mind, there's some different elements that we can talk to them about. So whilst it's great that all the environmental sustainability that goes on with the GSTC certifications, there's some really important things in there that we think about looking after the people and places that make holiday so special. So to all customers, it's absolutely, I'm sure, important that they know that the hotel staff are being treated really well. They're meeting minimum wage requirements. The local communities are benefiting from tourism in the area. And, things like promoting local people into managerial positions is so important for us. And again, another great reason why we selected GSTC.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Lawrence, obviously with Spring Hotels being based in Tenerife, am I correct? That sort of local element must be playing a part for you. Who do you engage with at Spring Hotels?
Well, obviously, as Scott just mentioned there, the tour operators are very tough on checking everything in the hotels. So we have such incentives of setting up the Spring University for staff, so they know the best practices. But certified people, we deal with people like Bioscore. They basically act a global reporting initiative. And we also deal with Travel Life. You may not be aware, but the Arona Gran, which is our hotel in Los Cristianos, is one of the 5 hotels chosen by Travel Life, which, in conjunction with Global Sustainable, looks at all elements of the hotel, checks what you're doing. We've already had a report back that the carbon footprint has reduced in the Arona Gran. We also deal with Mitico, the environmental agency, who check us as well. So I think, and probably Ash would agree with me on this, as an island, they're well aware that they have to be greener because there's only a limited number of resources. And to be honest, like things like recycling water, we've been doing for a long time because there are limited resources on the island. And we also have on our website, as do Iberostar, you can see quite clearly what we're doing, how the report's gone, how much water we're using, how much food waste we've got, etc., etc. So I think this is very important for agents and clients to see.
Absolutely, and obviously Tenerife has been in the news quite recently lately, hasn't it, in terms of sort of the resource issues. It's great to hear that the Arona Grant has been selected, Lawrence. So yeah, in terms of like moving things forward. Outside of accreditation then, everybody, what would you say are the key things that travel agents could look for when considering a sustainable property for their client? I mean, as you mentioned, potential greenwashing sort of dangers. Scott, have you got any thoughts on that, just from the sort of EasyJet Holidays perspective?
It's really important. Well, for us, I can tell you what we do. We're doing a deep dive into some of the hotels, and a lot of hotels out there have got great information on what they're doing around sustainability. And for us, what that's doing is allowing us to delve into our biggest selling properties. So we always talk about having our work focus on where we have the greatest impact. So if we are sending most of our customers to a set of hotels, the top 100, we want to know what they're doing about sustainability. So it's really quite enlightening that we're really delving into this work now for any properties that don't already hold a certification to understand what they are doing. And there is some real clear information on their websites. So for the agents, obviously, if you want to go in and have a look, a lot of the time it's really clearly displayed. There's some great annual reports that can be looked into. But for us as a business as well, it helps with our driving of the certification. So we can see, that hotels are doing great jobs. Then it's a conversation for us as to, well, why have you not achieved certification at this stage? Is it because you don't know about certification? Is it something you previously felt was unachievable? And that's why we also follow up with this with some GSTC sustainable tourism training. So we've been doing that in some of our busier destinations, so Greece, Spain, Turkey. We invited initially 120 hotels. It was such a popular program. We upped that to 160. So we had 160 hotels that hadn't previously achieved GSTC certification, wanted to know more, complete the GSTC training. So for us, obviously, that's what it does for us, being able to get in and find out a little bit more about the hotels and what they're doing. But from the agent perspective, Sarah, they can definitely find out that information. And I'm sure both Ashton and Lawrence really display some of that great stuff on their websites as well.
Yeah, and that sponsored GSTC training and in those destinations is in the last year, right? So 160 hotels last year. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it's probably worth adding. So it's quite a commitment. You know, this isn't a day turn-up course. It's a 4-week, fairly intensive course. The hotels, their representatives have the opportunity to go on and take an exam and be recognised for their work in sustainable tourism. So a real big commitment. We was absolutely delighted to see that so many of them are going on that journey.
Yeah, incredible. And Lawrence, any other advice for agents that you might have around, spotting the transparency of said sort of verifications, certifications, and so on?
Yeah, I mean, they can check on the whoever certifies website if you've got that certification. What we've done in the hotels is we've got a thing called Spring Ozone. It's a plan that our staff look at, and it's also out there for clients as well. On the ozone, it's practical tips for saving natural resources, suggestion box for new ideas, and maybe I'll get a chance to talk about what we've done in the Volcano after having asking all the hotel guests last year what they'd like to see on there. It needs to be on their website. We've got it on the website. We've got it on Friends of Spring. We've got it on our app, our plan. I think it's also something that agents themselves should be looking for to advise their clients. I think I know I used to work in German travel, and one of the first questions people ask when they go to a German travel agent is, what's their green policy?
Wow.
And that's something we should really be pushing for over here. So
that's really interesting, because with a lot of the feedback I've heard is that it's not necessarily top of mind for clients in the UK.
I'm not saying it's top. It's not in the UK. I'm not saying it's top, but in Germany, obviously, they're into biofoods and things like that.
They are.
So they do look at the green aspects, and that's something we should be pushing over here a lot more. And obviously, Iberostar are one of the leaders in doing that.
That's a lovely segue there, Lawrence.
That's £10.
I'll pay you later, Lawrence.
£10 for the plug, Ash. £10 for the plug. Thank you.
And Ash, I mean, outside of certification, I know that you talked a bit around sort of greenwashing claims. I know that Iberostar are quite sort of passionate around community tourism and the positive impact on the destinations themselves. Could you maybe explain a bit more about how agents can sort of look out for those sort of tells?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big part of sustainability, isn't it? Community tourism, and actually leaving a positive imprint and a positive impact on the environment, on the communities, wherever you travel as well. And we can really make an impact within the travel industry in doing that. So within Iberostar, for example, we work with Planetera. We've partnered with Planetera, and we're working on a few projects at the moment, and that will just increase over the next few years. And some really lovely projects, actually, that clients can get involved with. So apart from just seeing everything that's going on in the hotel, the single-use plastic-free environments, all the water fountains, all the recycling bins and all of that going on, and all the honest food policy in the restaurants, and they can see the impact. And we've actually had great feedback from clients that feel-good factor. They like to think that they're leaving a positive imprint on the environment by staying in one of our hotels and in Spring Hotels and all these other properties that are doing such great things there. But actually getting outside the properties and visiting the local communities and learning about them as well, and hopefully helping with the communities with profit as well with that. So we've got a few different projects. One of them, for example, is in Morocco, where we work with a group of women from a local community, and they come into the hotels. They tell the clients all about the history of argan oil, the production of argan oil. They do it on a weekly basis. So it's there. It's part of the experience. Clients don't have to pay to experience that, but then they can buy the product as well. So that's how the local community will then profit from that as well. So it's a really lovely project. And there's a few of those projects going on. So we do like to tell agents to sell that to their clients. We actually had, working on the TTG Sustainable Heroes project, and speaking with the ambassadors, the 20 ambassadors that we work with, the agent ambassadors, sorry, one of them came up with a really nice idea about putting in an excursion, a local sustainable excursion into the package price, for example, not telling the clients that it's an extra cost, just putting it as part of the experience. So they are kind of, getting involved and getting out and seeing the community as part of that package, but they're not thinking they're having to pay for it, because there's that perception that we have to kind of nip in the bud that sustainability has to cost more. It doesn't. With Iberia, it's there. It's in our hotels. You're not paying extra. So also to involve the local community with that as well would be great.
Yeah, so it's for one of the better phrases, baked in. It's embedded. It's not like the sort of add-on or the bolt-on for some of this, which is no, that sounds fantastic. Just sort of taking a quick question from our audience here. One directed to you quickly, Scott. What should agents do if they're concerned that a hotel is in breach of the GSTC hotel criteria that it's been certified on?
Yeah, it's a great question. So hopefully you would have seen Matt's panel. So Matt, the Chief Operating Officer of EasyJet Holidays, and he was talking yesterday about the animal welfare policy and the fact that, whilst we've got things set out and we know at some point something may fall short. So if it's an EasyJet Holidays property and it's available as certified sustainable on our website, then we'd be really keen to know our holiday.vet@easyjet.com email address. If it falls outside of us, then I would suggest probably getting in touch with the certification body or perhaps the hotel themselves and asking direct. I think there's a certain amount for both customers and us as professionals in the industry of holding hotels to account when there's something that we see that's not right. But also, if you want to go about it in a slightly less direct way, most of the certification bodies will have their criteria on their website. So it's probably worth, in the first instance, just having a reference just to make sure that your understanding is correct. Whilst GSTC hold the gold standard, certain certification bodies have different focus areas. They all meet a minimum criteria, but there will be slight differences. So, but if there's anything we can do to support on that question, then get in touch.
Oh, thank you, Scott. That's very much appreciated. On to sort of, I guess, some of the real other positive impacts that your businesses have been making. You're obviously working incredibly hard to make sure your properties have been addressing environmental impacts, and I was just asking for maybe one or two examples of any initiatives recently taken to keep that momentum going. I mean, Lawrence, you mentioned the work with Volcano, for example.
Yeah, we held a survey of clients last year on the Volcano, which has meant that we've now gone to bed and breakfast. We do half board, it's only around 25-30% of people. We've made it mainly bed and breakfast, and this is because people wanted to use the local restaurants. People wanted to use the local facilities. So for us, it's an ideal thing, because that means instead of having an all-inclusive hotel, for example, where there's no benefit to local tourism, this means that restaurants around the area get the money from clients as well. I was going to talk about the code, but raise the point from Ash when she said it's not. People think that it's expensive for green products. It's not necessarily the case, because obviously one of the things came out of this survey was to get rid of single-use plastics, for example, shampoo, etc. So now you can buy more in bulk and put it in the bigger, big dispensers. So that's one area where there's savings. I mean, there are plenty of other savings as well. By doing B&B, there's a lot of food waste. If we always offer buffets, there's a lot of food waste, which we measure every day. There's lots of things that you can do. I mean, we work locally. We work with people in the area. We do a thing called Lean, which is encouraging people with disabilities to do sport. We do that. We also distribute to local charities. For example, mattresses we've distributed to local charities. So as well as just looking at the green, you should really see what we're doing with the local communities as well. That's another piece of advice for agents, just to see what a hotel is doing for the local community. It's okay saying, look at me, I'm green because I've put a plant pot on the table. It doesn't necessarily mean you are. You need to look at the impact a hotel is having on all the local area as well.
Yeah, so not just within a hotel. Basically.
So that's probably a politician's answer, because I don't think I answered the question. So sorry.
Not at all. No, I think that. I mean, there was quite a lot of implemented changes made. You were saying to me separately that waste and green practices came up regularly on that survey of your clients, didn't it? So
it did. I mean, all the hotels are quite green inside, so we're already a green atmosphere, improving the environment there. But yes, waste is one of the main things. So on the evening meal, for example, now the main course, you have a selection of 13 to 15 dishes depending on when or where you are, rather than have a buffet. And you've seen what happens on the buffet. You come back with a plate this big, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
This is now quality food delivered by a quality chef, and you've got the choice of 13, etc., whichever ones you want from there. So I think that's one example. And I think the other is people are becoming more aware. I think we're a bit slower in the UK. However, there are great initiatives like your own initiative there to do this. We're also now introducing eco rooms in the Vulcano, which reduce the price because you don't have, if you don't want to clean, if you don't have them cleaned every day, you get a reduction in there. And as I say, the Spring Ozone, the practical handbook, has helped as well because it's also let clients see what we're doing as a hotel, what they can do as what they can do as clients to help it greener in Tenerife.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Ash, waste is something that you were mentioning quite heavily throughout this discussion, and I know that Iberostar has got a pretty ambitious pledge coming. I wonder if you'd be able to sort of tell us a bit more about that because it sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so we've actually pledged as part of our 2030 agenda, which is to reach carbon neutrality by 2030. So just around the corner. Part of that is we've pledged to send 0% of waste to landfill by 2025. It's a big job. That's how the wave of change started, really. Many years ago, we removed all the single-use plastics from our hotels, so that helped towards that goal, and we achieved that in 2020. But we've kind of really moved on. We've moved beyond plastics now, and it's all looking at. We've actually got a team, our 3Rs teams in a large number of our property. There's over 250 people working, and they literally look after every piece of waste in the hotel. They segregate it, make sure that it goes into recycling. 3R stands for reduce, reuse, recycle. So that's the aim really of the teams, and they're doing an amazing job. Last year we actually reduced 56% of sent 56% to landfill in 2023. So that's amazing. They've had a huge impact on that. But also food waste, like Lauren's mentioned, a great initiative there with the buffet restaurants, etc., in the hotels, because that can be a huge issue. And actually, I think we've calculated food waste stands for 40% of our carbon emissions worldwide within Iberostar hotels and resorts. So it's a huge impact. So we have to look at that. So we've actually partnered up with Winnow. I'd say 4 or 5 years ago now, we've been working with them, and it's had a fantastic success rate within our properties. So basically, it's artificial intelligence that's attached to the bins in our kitchens, and they literally monitor every piece of waste that's thrown into the bins. It's all photographic imagery. Obviously, the first couple of years, we actually had to input all of that information. So it took a while to get all of that information there, but we've got that in there now. So basically, it captures everything that's thrown away, and we get the reports. The head chef gets the reports, and we have to reduce down the food waste by using those reports. And as I said, we've had huge fantastic results with that. So we actually saved nearly 100,000 kilograms of organic waste in 23 in comparison to 22. So that's just, having Winnow in quite a large number of our hotels, but we're just continuing that and expanding it across the entire portfolio. So that's really going to help towards our waste-free goal by 2025. So that's going to have an amazing impact.
Excellent. And sounds like you're going great guns, basically. So to get there. And Scott, coming on to you, have you got any initiatives that either Egypt Holidays or indeed one of your partner hotels are working on at the moment?
Yeah, so probably in a bit of a unique situation, we can talk more as the consumer as well, because it's not our property, and we've got a really great property out in Izmir in Turkey, which is Club Mavi, and for some time they've been really quietly going about their business of doing a lot of good things and not necessarily making a big song and dance about their work in the industry. And it's subtle things. I think we're getting to the point now where you go on a holiday and things becoming the norm, and some of the great stuff they do. Obviously, I work in this industry. I can pick it up. So, we talk about the all-inclusive model. Yes, they're an all-inclusive model, but you can see how they rotate their meals, how they reuse, recycle different meals for different periods of the day, how they bring local communities in. So they've got a row of shops, including cosmetics, spas, and this is all run by local industries. This is all the local clothes are sold by local people, so it's almost supporting that community within the area. So there's great examples out there. There'd almost be too many to go through, and I think as tour operators we've got a great job to start showcasing some of these on our website, and even telling more than beyond the certified sustainable range.
Perfect. And as I say, there's so many fantastic initiatives out there. I'm actually seeing that we're already getting quite low on time. I could talk to you about this all morning.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Just wanted to get one quick question in as a sort of final question from our audience, but combine it with one of my own, if that's okay. So, first of all, how do you encourage guests to participate in your sustainability efforts? And then sort of to tag on to that, how can agents be supported to persuade clients to opt more into these options? I guess, Ash, just I'm looking at you directly right now. If I could start with you.
Yeah. Okay. So, how to encourage guests to participate? Well, basically, you could tell them about it, and that actually answers your second question, Sarah. Tell them about it, communicate it, use all of our information, all of our assets. I know Iberostar, I imagine also with Spring Hotels and lots of the suppliers that you work with, also the tour operators like EasyJet Holidays as well. They're producing information now which is easily communicated to clients. So promote that, kind of take that first step. If you're not doing it already, don't worry. You can start now and let us help you with that. We've got that information there, and we have got some really nice videos and assets, just making it more easy to communicate and easy to understand and fun as well. Take away all this science information, scientific data and everything, which obviously we need, but kind of communicating it in a way to the clients that they'll understand. And then when they get to our hotels, for example, they see it, and that feel good factor is a really big thing. I had an agent say to me recently, I asked them, are you focusing on sustainability, promotion, etc. They were no, my clients aren't interested. But then their sister, I think it was their sister, had just got back from an Iberostar property, and they said the first thing that she talked about was the edible straws that they had in the hotels. That was the first thing. They were like, I was so impressed. So the clients, when they're in the hotels and on holiday and that experience, they will know it, and they'll like that they're, like I said, leaving a positive imprint on the world and making a difference with that. So communicate it to them, tell them a bit more about it, and don't be scared to do that. Let us help you with that as well.
Brilliant. So to take up that offer, guys, Lawrence, just want any final thoughts from you around encouraging guests and indeed
agreeing with what Ash said. We've got around the hotel, we've got the Spring Ozone books. We've also got, for example, local things we do, like the Corey Shearwater. That's well advertised in the hotel, how we help them. You can do it indirectly. We've already mentioned water fountains. We've already mentioned getting rid of. But yeah, you've got to engage with the client and make it important for the client as well. And if they see it around, it does stick there in the brain, I think. So that's what we're trying to do as well. Just have a lot of information for the client and for the agent to say, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this should hopefully be the end result. So
perfect. And last but by absolutely no means least, Scott, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think it depends on the client that you've got with you, on what their goals and how receptive they are to sustainability. But one point I'd really like to make is these are great hotels, regardless if they're certified, part of our certified sustainable range. We're seeing really, really strong customer satisfaction scores in these hotels. So for us, at times we tell customers after the fact. So we've been really, really keen to make sure before we launched our certified sustainable range, we had properties in every major resort. So if a customer searches for certified sustainable, as they will with you, then you can offer them some great hotels. And then we follow up in our pre-booking, post-booking comms, to say, did you know by booking a GSTC hotel, you're looking after the people and places? And we give them a few examples of some of the great work that the certification's doing. So, it doesn't have to be up front. Sometimes, people may just want that holiday. They get a great hotel, it's certified sustainable, and then you can tell them all the bonuses. And then next time they come to book a holiday, it's in their mind.
Perfect. Thank you, Scott. And sadly, we are out of time, but it really has been a pleasure to talk to all of you today. And I think I speak for everyone when we say we're truly grateful for your time to share your expertise and advice. So thank you so much to Ash, Scott, and Lawrence. And for all of you tuning in, our next session covering how your clients can connect with local communities is on its way shortly. Thank you all again.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.